So, I mean, today marks the end of a long, would you call it journey, battle, all the above? How would you describe?
Probably all of the above. Yeah, about 8 years in this particular legal battle.
How did your day start today?
Well, I was totally asleep. I woke up and used the bathroom and then noticed my phone constantly going and saw that I'd missed several hundred phone calls and realized that something big probably happened. I checked Twitter and saw that the Supreme Court ruled in favor of our band. So from then I was just kind of thrown in a flurry of just catching up with emails, trying to read the decision and talking to different people on our legal team about it.
Did you have any idea today would be the day, this week, this month? I mean, or was it just like kind of just random?
Well, I knew this morning would be the 50-50 chance of getting the decision, because they tell you what days they're going to make the announcements, but they've been saying it could be any Monday from April to the end of June. So, so you really aren't quite sure what day they're going to make that decision. For me, I was so tired. I'd been working all weekend that I forgot about it. I forgot it was Monday. Just set my alarm and went to sleep. Normally I would wake up extra early to see if something pops up in the news, but I kind of woke up to the surprise.
Did you have any inkling that you had a chance to win? Did you feel good about it?
I felt pretty good about it, but I think mostly I wasn't sure if I was going to win or not, but I just felt that I've done everything I could possibly do. I took it to the highest court in the land, and that I could at least rest well knowing that we tried everything possible. A lot of legal experts and a lot of newspapers and journalists were predicting that things were looking in our favor, but I also said, you know, all of you guys predicted Hillary Clinton was going to win too, and look how that turned out. So I wasn't putting too much weight in those opinions. I just wanted to just say, you know, I'm going to see what happens.
Okay, and if you can put yourself in the moment of finding that you did win this morning, again, I know you're probably numb to it now because you've done so many interviews, but what were your emotions? Was it big victory, or has it been such a long battle that it was like, oh, wah, wah, yeah, cool?
I think it took me a moment to process. I think I'm still processing, but more than anything, I feel really humbled to be a part of something much, much bigger than a band, than the band that I started. It's thrilling. I mean, it's really exciting to be a part of this bigger conversation, and at the same time to know that we were able to put Asian American issues on the forefront before the Supreme Court, which has only happened like half a dozen times before. So there's that, and then the fact that we got a unanimous decision. Like, I can't believe we got people from every political side to actually agree on something. That was pretty extraordinary as well. So
maybe you need to be in the White House.
I don't know.
Get all sides to agree. Right?
Well, I think more than anything, when I woke up, I felt a sense of relief when I saw that. I was like, okay, it's finally over. I can finally concentrate on my art and all the things that I've been working on without this weight on my shoulders anymore.
It's done. You won. You got what you believed in to begin with, and the highest court in the nation sided with you. So yeah. How did you do it? I mean, doesn't it cost a lot of money to do this?
It's not cheap.
Litigation? I mean, I don't want to delve too deep or be too personal, but where do you get the money?
Well, I took a lot of second, third, and fourth jobs to help pay legal fees for a number of years. But
you were footing the bill alone? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, but thankfully, a couple years into it, my attorneys decided to take the case on pro bono, so they're really generous with their time. Of course, I was still responsible for research fees, appellate printing, court fees, and that sort of thing. But that's where having extra jobs helped out. And then this last year or so, I ran a crowdfunding campaign so people can help out with some of those bills. And there was a foundation that helped cover a lot of the appellate printing fees themselves. So thankfully, I mean, I would say it was really due to the generosity of the community around that we were able to do this.
Yeah, and have your attorneys, attached any sort of value to their pro bono service? And of course, you've had to raise money for all the other fees that you said. How much has this cost over the course of 8 years? I mean, going all the way.
I mean,
millions? Can I say millions?
If someone wanted to fight the case the way that we did, and if if we didn't have everything donated, like as far as the pro bono work and reduced legal rates and everything else, I would probably say, yeah, it would probably be upwards close to $1 million, maybe more. In the very beginning, when we actually had independent national surveys conducted and linguistics experts involved in the case, that alone is $300,000-400,000 just for their expert opinions and testimonies. So I could easily see it costing millions of dollars.
Was there ever a point where it became more about the principle of pushing this through and less the belief or stubbornness that, dang it, I want to keep this name, and it was like, wait a minute, you're saying I can't, and then it becomes digging your heels in for the principle of it?
It's been about the principle, I would say, for the last 6 years. I mean, and pretty early on, I was like, this isn't worth it. Why am I doing this? I should just give up or change the band name or do something else. But what we found through our research was that the law that we fought against, it was being disproportionately used against communities of color and members of the LGBTQ community. And I thought that, people's identities are being used against them. This can't stand. So we're going to fight no matter the cost, no matter how much of a toll it takes, and no matter how long that journey takes us.
Can you give me a specific example of those other issues, the LGBTQ and those? If you can remember any one of them specifically,
examples of them?
Where they were denied by the government that some sort of.
Sure. So the most famous case is one called Dykes on Bikes. It's a San Francisco-based nonprofit group, and a lot of people use them as an example because for many, many years they fought to register their name, and they eventually won. They didn't win on appeal. The trademark office just rescinded their decision. And so a lot of people are like, if you do what Dykes on Bikes has done, you're going to win. But that's not true, because when they applied to register for their logo, the trademark office went back and said, you can't register the logo because your logo has a name in it. And even though the term dyke has been registered as a trademark numerous times, the trademark office said in this instance, because you're a lesbian group, people are going to assume one definition instead of any other. So they're going to So the trademark office denied them their right to register their mark.
Sounds almost like your case, like you said.
Yeah, in my case, we said, hey, Slants been registered dozens and dozens of times. Why are you associating it with a racial slur in this band, but you've never done so in the history of the U.S.? The trademark office said, it's incontestable that the applicant is a member of an Asian band and is of Asian descent. In other words, they said, if people see this band and they see the Slants, they're going to automatically think a racial slur instead of any other possible definition. But that's really a convoluted way of saying anyone can register the Slants as long as they're not Asian. And so it's one of hundreds and hundreds of examples of the government doing this.
And of course, the biggest example they're showing on the outside looking in right now is the Washington Redskins. They actually pulled their situation off the table and out of the courts till your thing was resolved and let you set the precedent.
Yeah.
You've opened a pretty big door. I mean, does it feel that way? And like you say, it's still got to sink in, but does it, the Redskins are going to piggyback off of your due diligence?
They most likely will, which is most unfortunate. But I think the bigger picture at the end of the day is the fact that marginalized groups now have the right to determine what's best for ourselves. We're not dependent on the sympathy of a lone examining attorney who may or may not understand our experiences. It's true the football team may regain their trademark registration, but they never lost their trademark rights. All they lost was the registration. Most people don't remember that trademark rights are not granted by the government. They're granted through use in the marketplace. Right. So even if you wanted the football team to change their name, canceling their name wasn't going to do it. They would have to get market forces to do that.
Okay. So you say you have lawyers that called you, and what are some of the things that you heard on the phone today from, I'm going to say lawyers specifically, what did they say?
Mostly congratulations and to thank me for being stubborn, for sticking through it, because they said it's not an easy task. It's not easy being involved in a Supreme Court case because of the treatment by the media or people who might not understand the complexities of an issue. So a lot of congratulations from them. And then in particular from Asian American attorneys, they said thank you for standing up for our community, for showing that, you know, we're not just going to be a silent community when it comes to issues that affect us.
I mean, and you talk about the Asian American communities, but there's also just ACLU, the whole country. Freedom of speech, and that's probably the biggest single.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than just Asian Americans in this instance. So, yeah, it's extraordinary that we've been able to be a part of this.
And what is next? Music, art?
Art without a legal case on my shoulders. You know, we're in the studio now recording another new album, and then we'll be back on the road again probably this fall. Mm-hmm.
You think this will help promotion? You know, I know it wasn't your goal, but I mean, you guys are out there now, and
I'm not sure.
You've got an extra marketing tool.
I hope so. I hope people who watch things like the nightly news or people who listen to Nina Totenberg will actually go and buy records. I mean, the case has been in the news quite a bit over the years, but it hasn't necessarily translated to concert ticket sales. You know, people who listen to Morning Edition don't necessarily go to rock clubs to listen to a synth pop band, but we're hoping that people will take a look at our work as well as take a listen to our music, and hopefully we can win them over that way as well.
Do you do it full time? I mean, what do you do on this? You got your MBA.
I guess you could say I got a lot of side hustles. I teach adjunct at a couple colleges. I work in marketing for environmental organizations. So I do a lot of different things. I haven't been a full-time musician since this case began 8 years ago.
Would you like to be?
A full-time musician?
Yes.
Yeah, though I imagine I would probably do a bunch of different things anyways. I mean, I love staying busy. I sit on the board of a couple of social justice nonprofits, and I think it's really important to try and use my art in whatever way I can to fight for the marginalized.